Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. Before we get into this video, please make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, I'm gonna be here every day, and over 67% of you that have watched in the last couple of weeks are not subscribed. Spare some subscription, please. All right, hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube video. Okay, so Gabrielle Hanna always finds her way back into our web of talking about people. Now, I knew that Gabbie Hanna had done a talk at Oxford, and I had seen this because people were tagging me being like, Adam, Gabbie Hanna is talking at Oxford today. And I was like, as in like the Oxford? And everyone was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I didn't really think much of it. And I saw a lot of people have been talking about this, and someone had sent it to me on my Twitter last night. Thank you so much. And someone was like, Adam, I think you really need to talk about this because Oxford are getting a lot of backlash in the comment section based on how Gabbie carried herself. And so I was like, right. I was, filming videos. It's 2 a.m. right now. I was going to watch this anyway tonight. And then I was like, we're going to watch it for the first time together. Now, I will always tell you if I've watched something before or after. This time, I can promise you I have not seen this yet. It has more dislikes than likes. It's on the Oxford official YouTube page. And it is YouTuber and singer Gabbie Hanna speaks about becoming famous on social media and her music career. Now, at that face value, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this off camera. Because when all of you were sending it to me and being like, can you watch this? I thought it was just going to be like us watching a Gabbie Hanna interview. But then I start scrolling in the comments and I'm like, oh, in the sense that, oh, that's not. The top comment is so disappointing. Just 2 months ago, I was publicly forgiving and praising her for changing and maturing. And she slips back to this such as, oh my God, that's Rachel Oates. Oh, okay. Rachel Oates, who's in the Gabbie Hanna lore anyway, was the one who said that. Calling an interviewer dude at Oxford University feels like weird, dude. 1430 is proof she hasn't changed one bit. She can't and won't ever stay away from social media. Does she ever listen to the question? She really minimized the fact that she gave her book to a person that she didn't find interesting and then got mad, lied about the person, and went on a whole campaign against her, Rachel Oates, who's the top comment, for reviewing a book that Gabbie sent her. Having to watch this in chunks because it's so cringy. The way she forgets questions is indicative to the fact that she literally just talks just to talk. There's no consideration for staying on topic and making a cohesive conversation. How on earth did Gabbie Hanna... Okay, so I'm gathering that the interview isn't great. How on earth did Gabbie Hanna wind up on this? The lack of insight is concerning. Next guest, Amberlynn Reed. All right, a lot of people are talking about Rachel Oates, so I assume that comes up. I don't know why that would come up. No, I love that she's wearing an Oxford hoodie. My thing is, like, why is Gabbie Hanna speaking at Oxford? Like, no shade, but, like, what was it about Gabbie Hanna in 2024, mind you, that they were like, I think this would be a great guest? And there's, like, people, like, listening to this in the moment. You know when you're, like, in school and stuff and they bring in, like, a guest and you're like, I don't really know why I'm being forced to listen to this. Imagine you're in Oxford University and they bring in Gabbie Hanna. I'm like, I have to sit through this? I'd be jealous. I want to sit through it because we're going to sit through it virtually right now. All right. I love this lip balm. This is not sponsored or anything. Don't even know where I got it. I think I might have got it at like LAX airport. It's called like Hello. All right, you just can't see because oh, Sun Bum. Sexy. I think I got it in an airport. It's so delicious. All right, I'm going to watch this, and then at the end of this video, we're either going to give it a like or a dislike. So it's either going to be 164 likes or 383 dislikes. All right, you know my opinion of Gabbie Hanna is so up and down, so I'm willing to give her a fair chance, but already judging by the comments, why was she brought on? Sorry, I just, like, what was the context? Why is Gabbie Hanna at Oxford? Like, what is she giving them a talk about? I don't know.
Talented girl is doing real stuff and being constantly. You open up the comment section, nurse, she's out again. Somebody help her, she's crazy. And I'm like, oh, we're all free Britney, until this.
Is she going to talk about her cancellation this entire time? Is she going to use the opportunity to be at Oxford to talk about All right.
Successful, talented girl is doing real stuff and being constantly told she's crazy, constantly being gaslighted when I'm telling you I'm fine. My bills are paid. My house is beautiful. My staff is paid. Like, my life is fine. Why are you so...
Staff is paid? What staff does Gabbie Hanna have? I fear that this interview might be her bigging herself up a lot because she's at Oxford and there's like students in front of her. Who's her staff? What, her music producer?
worried about me?
I don't know how this is gonna go.
Welcome.
Wow, there is not a full audience, as you can see. Even the front row is empty, but there's people here. I'm just curious as to, like, the people that are in the audience right now. Do they, like, know Gabbie Hanna as in, like, Gabbie Hanna from online, or have they just, like, stumbled into this, or did they have to go to it, or what is the context?
And thank you so much for being here.
This is awesome.
How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I literally could have gotten an Uber or a train up to Oxford if they had invited me to this. I would have sat front row in that audience.
Great. This is really very cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're still coming off jet lag, so we're like, is this real life?
You're enjoying the Oxford experience so far. You've obviously got the merch on already.
Dude, Oxford is so cool. I literally got this like a couple hours ago because I just like, I need to be in the vibe. No, Oxford is cool. We spent 4 days in London before this, and we were all in agreement. Like me and my friends that I came with, just like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is the vibe that we were looking for in the first place.
It's a very different place, isn't it? It's not like London at all.
Oh, I don't like it already. I don't like it already. Oh, it's quite awkward. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt because we're only a minute in and conversations with a stranger can be awkward at the start. But, I don't know how I'm going to feel with this.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, it's just like the energy is different. It's like busier, but also less busy at the same time. Yeah. Just a positive, human, energetic experience.
Well, I'm really glad you've made it here, given you've just got a new song out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I wondered if you could tell us a bit about it. I mean, it's called Where Did I Go? Where did you go?
Where did I go? So it was just time to take a step back. I actually just posted a YouTube video about it, and what time is it right now? It just went live 8 minutes ago, actually. Yeah.
Didn't have time to research that.
I know. I didn't tell anyone, to be fair, so it's not your fault.
Well, I love the timing of this.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. Like, it was half like divine timing and then half a little bit of like, let me plan around that divine timing. But yeah, I was planning on coming back on leap year anyways, and then you guys had hit me up. And I was like, what are the dates? And like the flight was on leap year.
You know what I'm gonna guess? And I may be completely wrong here, but like I've gotten emails before to like speak at universities, but they're all like in America, and they've all had to do in time periods of my life when there's actually something to like talk to me about. Like last year in the Colleen thing, like so many universities were reaching out and they'd be like, we would love to have you come on and talk about like the dangers of social media and all like this. And I just never got back to anyone because I'm like, not right now. I'm busy. I'm busy having a fucking breakdown. So I think what happened here is obviously Oxford is very, very, very impressive. I'm not taking that away from Gabbie. What I am saying is the person in blue, I assume, is probably like a head up, you know, student or maybe like a teacher or something like that, and has like the floor to interview someone, and they set it up and were probably a fan of social media and were like reached out to Gabbie Hanna, and Gabbie Hanna got back to them. It's not uncommon for influencers to be reached out to by different universities. Obviously, Oxford is a great one, but normally the interviewer will be someone who enjoys the internet scene anyway. That's why it's very random that Gabbie would be at Oxford. But if you think about if the interviewer is a fan or maybe knows her, or maybe not, maybe I'm just kind of giving a hypothetical here.
I was like, okay, let me come back and immediately get on a plane, not have too much access to the internet, social media, be busy. And yeah, I made the decision yesterday to post the video today. So yeah, it just worked out that way.
And what inspired that song, apart from I suppose the break?
It was one of those ones that comes from, like, every once in a while I'll sit down and be like, okay, I really want to write a song about this thing. But usually it's just something that comes to you. And I was just like, literally the way it started, I was on the way to like a Pilates class or something one morning. And my friend who's a songwriter slept over and she was downstairs. And I just sent her this voice note because we were like, oh, let's try to produce a song later. I was like, where did that go? And then it just turned into a song. Yeah. But I thought the timing would be great because a lot of it was about like, I mean, obviously I've been gone for a year. That's not what the song was really about. It was more so about like where...
This is something completely unrelated, and I don't want to take away from anything that's happening here, and I also don't mean to be a hater, even though sometimes I enjoy being one. Gabbie's not necessarily doing a good job right now at involving the audience, and if I was in the audience, I would be really bored because I'm not watching a YouTube video. I'm in person hearing you. So I hope, we're only 3 minutes in, I hope she starts body language, audience, interviewer, like this is like basic human interaction skills. I hope she starts looking around at the audience, because it is kind of rude to kind of not acknowledge them. They are not there watching a TikTok of you on the screen. Like, you're in front of them. Like, interact with them.
Did I go?
I understand it's a conversation, but when you're like being interviewed on like a reality show or something, you will turn and acknowledge the audience or even speak, and then it's rude not to acknowledge them. So I hope she acknowledges the crowd.
Person.
Crowd.
Once I started performing for everybody else all the time. So it's like by the time, I started when I was like 22 or 23 or something. So I'm a 33-year-old woman, and I'm like, whoa, I've been like in front of everybody since I was 23. Like, most people kind of have a minute to readjust. And I didn't have that time. So it's time to just like step back and be like, who am I? Do I still want to do this? So I set myself a timer of like 1 year. And if at the end of the year I feel like I should come back, I will. And if I feel like I don't want to, then I won't force it.
And you felt that you did want to come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was?
It just really came down to like, I have been given like so many blessings and gifts. So for me to just benefit from it for so many years for selfish reasons, and then just be like, all right, well, I got what I wanted. I'm not going to use it for anything else. It just seemed like a waste. Like, I was given a platform, I was given an audience, sometimes great, sometimes terrible, but like no matter what, people are looking. So if people are looking, it would be really selfish to not use it, even if it's easier to like, it'd be easy to.
Do you feel you have a kind of set thing you want to use the platform for now, or are you still kind of figuring that out?
Totally. I think, I know that the UK is like pretty plugged into American culture and like politics, but
Okay, she is acknowledging them now. Very good. Maybe 4 minutes in, but still quite good.
obviously not the same as like being there. It's become very like echo chamber, tunnel vision, and we have a lot of people saying the same things. I think we're getting a little bit tired, and it's time for people to say some different things.
Yeah.
And
This is coming from Gabbie, Hanna.
at the end of the day, I kind of like battled through a lot of just like, I'm gonna keep doing this. So I have so many experiences that I think they're important to share. Like, if you have a valuable lesson, why keep it to yourself just because it's less embarrassing, I guess, would be the answer. It'd be less embarrassing to put yourself out there over and over again.
Well, it's quite a brave thing to do.
Is it?
I'm not sure I would do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
The audience feel, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was quite interesting what you said about starting off when you say 22 or 23 was when you started becoming really famous, or was that when you kicked off your career, or when it took off?
I started when I was 22. I was like pretty significant by 23.
Right.
So that's when it was like, I knew that was going to be my living.
So how was dealing with fame at such a young age? Because that's only a couple of years off, or probably some of the audience are that age now. I can't imagine like being kind of scrutinized by the world at that age.
Yeah.
How did you kind of find it?
I mean, I honestly, I was like actually more lucky, I would say, than a lot of people, because a lot of people, especially on Vine, found it when they were like 15, 16, 17 years old. So I was like out of university, kind of working in the real world. So I actually had it better than a lot of people. I think if I had been like a teenager, I don't know, I can't even imagine being a teenager growing up with like Instagram, which a lot of these people in this room, I'm sure, because you're about a decade younger than me, right?
Yeah,
right?
I grew up with it.
Yeah, so like Instagram came out when I was in college. Like, it was like Tinder and then Instagram, I think. Like, you know what I mean? They were like right there. So we didn't have it like that. We had like Zanga and MySpace, but yeah, I can see why things mentally and spiritually, I think, are going the way they are now in Gen Z and below, because we just didn't have the same. Dude, it's crazy. Like, I really don't know how you guys are doing it. Like, are you okay? Are you okay? Is everybody in this room okay?
I feel we almost don't know like what the effects of it are going to be still. I mean, it's clear that effects are not good, right? But
yeah,
it's changing so much all the time. I mean, this is another thing I wanted to ask about. I feel like when you were at YouTube, I mean, this might be my perception of that, I don't know the figures.
Okay, this makes sense. I think they brought her on to talk about the impact of social media. That makes sense, and I feel like she's a perfect candidate for it.
But it was at a time of like peak YouTube, because it was pre-TikTok, it was pre-podcast, it was kind of, YouTube was the thing. And that category of, probably YouTubers like yourself at the time with the story times and, I don't know, the makeup, get ready with me and all that stuff, it was really taking off. Like, what was it like kind of being at the front of that? at that time when it was
it was so
big?
cool, dude.
Was it fun?
It was like literally I've, in my opinion, had one of the coolest life experiences you could possibly have. Like that world was so unbelievable and unreal that just like I'll never be able to put it fully into words just how cool it was, because we were like creating something. Like this wasn't a thing. Like I was doing it before the word influencer became a thing. So we're just like, what are you? Oh, fine.
Sorry, I'm so obsessed with her wearing an Oxford University hoodie. I'm so obsessed with it because I would do the exact same thing.
Like, I don't know. Like literally just making up rates. We were making it up. We were kids, most of us. Like a brand would reach out and they'd be like, can we like give you this and this? And it's like, oh wow, they gave me that amount really easily. And then we would just say like a crazy number and they'd be like, okay. So like we as creators started taking back control in a way that a lot of artists and creators don't. Because normally you're paying like a production company and like you have the TV company's getting paid, like all these people are getting paid, and then the face, like the endorsement, is such like a small amount of it. So it's like, okay, if these people are spending like this much money on like a Super Bowl commercial or like whatever, like if you get 10 million views on a YouTube video, like how much is your ad, like your personal voice in your program worth? Yeah, it was just, dude, it was like this is gonna sound so crazy, but it was like a economic like revolution in a way. Where it's like things are just different now. And then I feel like when COVID picked up,
Economic revolution.
sort of had the time.
A Gabbie Hanna sponsorship.
Like the timing of my situation, like the divinity of it, the calling of it, like the timing of it, like everything. Like that was an anomaly. Like people have asked me before, like how do I do it? I don't have any idea. Because nothing I did was on purpose. Like it wasn't a thing. But yeah, I don't know what I'm rambling about. It's just, dude, it was a crazy world.
Yeah,
it still is. Yeah.
Like I say, I think that's what a lot of us grew up with. So it's really, really interesting to hear about it.
Yeah.
How did you, like, what was your sort of week like? What would a kind of day-to-day have been like at that time?
Super rigid.
Yeah.
Actually.
It wasn't sort of changing all the time. It was more...
Yeah, totally. I think that's like a misconception. I don't know like what it is to come up on it now, but like at the time, I think like in order to look like you're not working, you have to be working all the time. Like you don't see me when I'm in work and when I'm out because it is the same place. So it's super
Filming a YouTube video.
rigid. Like if I
Screaming into a mic.
There were sometimes I'd post 1 video a week, sometimes I'd post 10 because it's Vlogmas and there's 7 on my vlog channel and 2 on my main, and then an Instagram video every day, a Vine every day, a TikTok every day, a tweet every day. Like you're curating content for like months at a time, and then all throughout the day, like you're posting at certain times and you're cross promoting. So like when you go to Instagram, it shoots to all these, and then when you go to that, it shoots to all these, and it's like kind of interconnecting into one world where like kind of like I feel like it's kind of everywhere where like you click into a place and you click into another place. Like if you're on your TikTok For You page and you're like, oh, like what's this? And then you click the sound and then you're on the sound. And now that you're on the sound, you go click this.
You know what is quite crazy to me in this? I mean, we haven't got to the parts that people have issues with yet because that timestamp someone said was like 13 minutes, I think, 13 minutes. But it's crazy that she would be willing to do a talk on social media considering how much she talks down about social media and how much she says that she hates social media. But she's not going to be the voice of social media? I mean, Oxford's calling.
Creator, and it's like you start clicking the back button to try to get back home and you're like, oh my gosh, like I forgot that I'd like gone through all these dimensions. I don't know what I'm talking about, dude. I'm just saying stuff.
It's fine, we're enjoying it.
I mean, okay, it's a double-edged sword. Calling an interviewer at Oxford dude constantly instead of properly addressing them is cringy at worst and unprofessional at best. No, I think I meant to say that the other way around. I don't know. It's unprofessional. I mean, I understand that they're bringing you on, you're trying to be authentic and stuff. It's really unprofessional and really cringy, genuinely, to like be at Oxford having a talk, whether you're talking to one person or 100 people or 1,000 people or 100,000 people, to be in that climate and be unprofessional in the conversation. It's not being casual or how you normally do because you tweak based on the situation you're in. It is quite cringy, I'll be honest.
Cool. I'm quite interested in what you said there about like you're working all the time, and this is something I've always wondered about like creators is how like can you switch off? You know, does it feel like every moment that you're in when you're at the shops with your friends something funny happens, or whether you're going to a party or whatever, like oh god I have to vlog that or I have to film that because it could be good content? Like how did you find
that's
that?
why I never really got into that world, and that's why I separated myself from groups who were in that world. Because it was
Wasn't she in the Vlog Squad for ages?
It was too trippy. I've talked about this in like my earliest interviews where it's just like, you don't see me publicly with a lot of people that I hang out with because it makes me like wildly uncomfortable to make it like a filming situation all the time.
Yeah. Draining, I'm imagining, right?
Yeah, and it was like that, just straight up. Like if there's like a funny thing that happens, it's just like, okay, wait, do that again. 4 people pull out a camera and everybody wants to capture that exact moment. And then there's all this like canned laughter that's happening naturally as they're shooting. And it's like everybody kind of turns on to like this autopilot of performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spooky.
And what did you find the culture like among other sort of creators? And I mean, even now as well, like, is it supportive? Like, is it collaborative, or is it quite sort of competitive? Are people trying to, I don't know?
I think it probably depends who your community is.
Sure.
And like, I've been off for so long that I'm pretty like,
You're removed a bit.
yeah, but like the creators that I do talk to, like, yeah, it's all love, it's always support. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm more so just interact with like painters or songwriters and people who are spreading messages I care about.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I wanted to know, how did you decide to sort of...
I understand their reasoning for bringing Gabbie on because she can be quite controversial and she's been involved in so much. But when she's not willing to talk about it, she's not really a great person to interview because you're talking about like social media dynamics, and then she keeps bringing it back to like songwriting, and it's like, I'm pretty sure she's probably brought on to talk about social media.
Change your career path a bit.
They're bringing her to Oxford to talk about her singing. Sure.
Music, like, how did you decide when to take those moves, I suppose?
Dude, I don't know. I was like one of those
Oh my god, wait, the more she says, the more she's addressing the interviewer by the more I need her to stop. It's cringe.
It was always just like a show off. So then when I like started off in my career, I was like, I can do that. And I just like, if I would pick up an interest, I would just like want to put it out right away, and like learned a lot from that. I'm glad it happened. But yeah, I don't know, just like when everything's possible, because you can make anything possible, and that's not like a me thing, that's like anybody can make anything possible. But once you kind of like hit that spot where things are actually becoming like reality, it's like, oh yeah, I want to do a book, yeah, I want to do music, why wouldn't I like strike right now with the iron's hot? But I think that's one thing that always kind of differentiated me, was recognizing social media as a flash in a pan, where it's like, okay, this could be really long and really lucrative, or this could be literally a lottery that I hit for 2 years. So like I always just kind of like lived it like a lottery, trying everything I could while still being like as conservative as I can, just like smart financially. Like I never like wanted to, because you never know, dude. Like try everything, spend your money right. Yeah.
Well, there was a bit of a feeling that it was almost a cliche that a YouTuber was going to put out a book and then put out a song or whatever. Did it feel like you sort of had to do that, or was it very much like you really did want to sort of?
Well, the first, like, right away.
Well, I mean, Gabbie's probably so fuming at that question, because it was basically like every YouTuber is putting out a book, so is that why you did? But Gabbie's was poetry, remember? Gabbie didn't do the usual YouTuber thing. She did poetry.
Like you have agents on top of you being like, do a book, and people were asking me to do an autobiography when I was like 25 years old. And I was just like, I don't know if I have that much to talk about yet. Like, let me see what the end is before I write the...
I mean, that's such a great point, though. Like, YouTubers were literally writing autobiographies at like 22.
You know what I mean? Like, I haven't reached the conclusion, so I'm gonna stop my autobiography right now. I'm like 27 and living in West Hollywood. Like, this isn't cool yet. Like, why would you read my story? But then, I wanted to do a poetry book because I would like just like tweet poetry late at night, and my fans would be like, write a book. So I was like, why not? Like I keep getting all these offers. Like it would be cool to publish it. It was more of an art book to me than like my notes, my journal was just like things I would write down, or like I thought like the words were clever or the drawing, whatever. But yeah, it was natural for me. I honestly will turn down ideas that I don't think are gonna be. I won't do it if it's not fun. And you don't want to work with me if I'm not having fun, to be honest.
Did you enjoy the book part?
There's something crazy about a YouTuber who probably made at her peak so much more money than all the students in the room whenever they get their jobs that they're, studying for, to be like, I turn things down if they're not fun. Gabbie, sometimes people have to do things to just make money.
The music path more. I mean, I notice you're still doing more music.
They're just different. Like they're all... Like one thing I'm learning is that they're all different at the same time, and it's okay to not be like, okay, I have to like 100% do a book, I have to 100% do music. Like the music comes from the book comes from the music. Like it's all kind of intermingles, which is why a lot of times you'll see me like release things kind of all at the same time, like an EP with a book, because the EP was inspired by the book was inspired by the EP. This is all one collection of art from a period of time in my life that I don't want to hold on to it. Like I just want to put it out there and see what happens.
Did you how did you feel about kind of the reaction to the book? Obviously some people like loved it, and then also there was...
Oh, okay. I fear we might be entering into the Rachel Oates section. Now again, the lore was that Gabbie sent Rachel a book, Rachel reviewed it, was very honest, and then Gabbie freaked the fuck out on Rachel.
Didn't like it. And was that kind of hard when it must be a very personal thing, right, to put poetry out? Some of it was quite personal, right?
Yeah. The thing with me with that was just like the first 2 or 3 years it was out, like everybody was just like really digging it and it was fine. But then it just kind of became trendy to use my name. And then like one girl went viral who like, the actual critiques don't bother me that much because like, this is gonna sound so bitchy, but whatever. Like, you have to be careful who you take your opinion from. Like, you can say like, you don't like my book, or you can like critique my literary style or whatever it is, but like, I don't think you're interesting or intelligent or creative or artistic. So why the hell would I take your opinion? You're a loser.
This is so cringy. I'm also just not gonna comment on her swearing at Oxford. You know I love a swear word, but one place I would not be swearing, a fucking university of any sort. Oh my god, to sit at Oxford. Can I just replay that again? Oh, that was... Oh, I think that's where the timestamp the people in the comments are talking about. That is so... so cringy.
With me with that was just like the first 2 or 3 years it was out, like everybody was just like really digging it and it was fine. But then it just kind of became trendy to use my name. And then like one girl went viral who like... the actual critiques don't bother me that much because like, this is gonna sound so bitchy, but whatever. Like, you have to be careful who you take your opinion from. Like, you can say like, you don't like my book, or you can like critique my literary style or whatever it is, but like, I don't think you're interesting or intelligent or creative or artistic. So why the hell would I take your opinion? You're a loser. Sorry, like your opinion's nothing to me. So like, that didn't bother me.
Oh my god. Gabbie. Ooh. Oh god, it's awful. She has just admitted in front of Oxford students, the new generation, that if you do not suck her ass, she doesn't think your opinions... I can't even... that's so cringy. Oh, it's really bad to say at Oxford, just in general.
Yeah.
When people are just like...
People are laughing at her in the audience.
Hell would I take your opinion? You're a loser. Sorry, like your opinion's nothing to me. So like that didn't bother me. It just got like kind of like boring. Yeah. When people are just like you're burning a book in 2020 that you bought in 2017. I already got your money. You know, it's just like, it's old. But at the same time, like it did make me better. It did, because like when everybody's critiquing you, like I will always take constructive criticism. Like
you just said that you won't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from or something. So you're picking and choosing. Therefore, how are you going to take criticism if the only people you like are the ones that are praising you? It does not work.
I am not that girl. Like
I'm not that girl. What did she say literally a minute earlier? Come on, please.
No, I send my stuff to all my friends. Like I'm posting something, I've sent it to 20 people already. You know what I mean? I want you to tell me the truth, because like there's a lot of people watching. But anytime people try to bring you down, like if you're a like talented person, you're gonna become better because of it. So like they made me more talented, and that's dope.
Okay, maybe you need to get more criticism. I'm kidding.
And in general, that like being quite vulnerable, like online or in your art or whatever it is.
Your art or whatever the hell that is.
Is that a sort of thing that you felt you sort of had to do to, I don't know, get the clicks and get the views and sales, or is it something that like you made an active choice to do? Because I feel like it must be quite like a big decision to put so much of yourself like out there.
That's interesting, because I haven't given it a lot of thought until this very moment. But it wasn't like that initially. I remember the first time it happened, I was like stuck on a loop of like very rigid. And a lot of this is like OCD stuff that I'm like recognizing now, where it had to be like this exact minute of every single week, cannot miss an upload, cannot take a break, like with everything. So it was like every single day, like morning, noon, I was up till 4 a.m., waking up at 9, like doing the same thing every single day. What are we talking about?
I asked you, like, did you decide to be vulnerable?
Listen, I'm not gonna hate on someone for getting a question, because I've done it in my life, but we're about 16 minutes in and I've realized how Gabbie's answering questions in the comment section are right on this. she's kind of just talking and therefore getting distracted. And I'm sure she's going to be like ADHD, but I don't think she wants to answer the questions is what we're dealing with here.
Is it like, do you feel you had to do it?
I must be like disassociating or something, like trauma. No, the first time I did it, I think I just like, I knew that I had to post that week. And I was just like, I can't like fake this week. So I was just like, let me just talk about how I'm feeling. Like I'm a vlogger, whatever. Yeah. But the response was so positive and so overwhelming that I think it became a thing that was like reinforcing a behavior where now this is like a conditioned response to a stimulus, which is like high engagement, interest, goes to views, goes to money, goes to praise, like all of these things that are just like inherently human desires. Yeah, it's just like too much praise for doing like the weirdest stuff. Yeah.
I feel like you've come back here, you know, this is one of your first reappearances after like quite a vulnerable time, right? And I wondered if you don't mind, if you would mind telling us a bit about like that time and how it's been kind of coming back from that.
Repeat the first half of this question.
So I'm basically asking about like...
Oh, Gabbie. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. First of all, Gabbie is just coming across very rude in the way that she's addressing this person, from dude to not saying please to not even acknowledging the crowd to not listening. I mean, dude, this is really not great.
It's for doing like the weirdest stuff. Yeah.
I feel like you've come back here, you know, this is one of your first reappearances after like quite a vulnerable time, right? And I wondered if you don't mind, if you would mind telling us a bit about like that time and how it's been kind of coming back from that.
Repeat the first half of this question.
So I'm basically asking about like kind of August 2022.
Oh, yeah.
If that's okay.
Oh my gosh, no. Honestly, I look at it with fondness. What would you like to know?
Well, basically, first I suppose...
You've now asked for the question 3 times. This is not great.
What, in your view, like what happened? Like what was going on at the time?
So right before that, actually, I had taken a break where like there were so many things that were holding me to the internet that I had to get past. Like there's an album coming out. I can't just kill all of these projects that I spent all this time, love, energy, money, focus, attention on. Like I have to like let them live. So it's like, wow, like this is taking a long time to produce. This is taking a long time to get right. There has to like, so I finally got my last project out and then I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. All my vault is empty. Let me just like disappear.
And that's why do you think you got to that sort of like point with it?
I'd been there for a minute. Like, like being famous is a job that they don't really like explain to you. Like there are consequences to this. Like if you want to work on Wall Street and make this X amount of money and get X amount of things, whatever, you have to make these sacrifices. So when you step into that industry, it's like you can have all of these things that you want, but you have to make sacrifices. And nobody tells you what they are. And with Vine, it became like literally no barrier to entry. So like if you were, you know, trying to be an actress or a host or whatever it is, you have to like go through a certain process. You have to like learn how to be professional. You have to practice your craft. You have to like take rejection. You have to like have all of these things putting you down to humble you first. What Vine did and a lot of like,
she just did not answer that question at all. She did not answer that question at all.
I guess internet content in general is it just really highly rewards minimal effort and poor behavior. So we're creating monsters. And I'm saying this as somebody who was a part of that machine. It's like, oh, like you're obsessed with yourself. You're talking about yourself. Like this is all about the way you look, the way you sound, like pay attention to me, like me, like me, like me, like me. And then not only are you getting all this attention and validation and like popularity and fame and status, you're also making money. So this like becomes this world of just like, dude, it's like in reinforcing the worst traits and inclinations of human beings. I don't know what we're talking about again.
So now.
Oh, again, there is such thing as ADHD, and there's another thing called being unprofessional. Maybe Gabbie would not forget what the question was if she didn't just start rambling about random shite. Oh, this is not great. This is actually worse than I thought it was going to be.
So we were talking about the fact you've spent a long time in that industry.
Oh, yeah.
So that, do you think that's what basically led to it?
Oh, so yeah, I was just like, I was kind of over it. Like, I was like, this is not good for me. Like, the public wasn't responding well to me.
Yep.
And what really came down to it is just like, am I going to choose my pride or my peace? So am I going to like keep kind of trying to defend myself, keep trying to like regain something that once was?
Yeah.
Or am I just going to accept what God is trying to give to me and step away?
Yeah.
And I stepped away. So I put out the music, or I put out that album and I stepped away. And I took maybe like somewhere around 2 weeks from when I promoted the album. I was like, I'm done. I deleted all my apps. And then I came back like 2 weeks later because I was just like, I'm not gonna let people just like win over me. Like, I can do so much with this. Like, when I started, it was always with mission. It was always with purpose. It was never supposed to be about like me and my music and my poetry. Like, it was always about something further. It was about something to like put back into the world and create change. Use a voice, use a platform, use resources, and actually do it right. But I kept like putting it off.
I don't know what era she's talking about, because when she was on Vine, she was not doing that. When she was doing her story time, she's not. But then again, I understand she's in like a professional setting here, and she's like trying to like big up what she did as if it like has a lot of purpose. But like,
It's just like, there's always a reason to like not get started, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like having these revelations of like, I can't just get away. So I got back online and I was just like pissed off. Like, I was angry because I was like, I don't want to be here, but I also can't like walk away from this.
Yeah.
So then I remember I was doing like spoken word. Like, everything I was posting was under Gabbie Hanna poetry. So I was doing, I think it was like, I wish I could sleep. God, I wish I could sleep, but I can't sleep. There's babies dying on the street. And I'm like telling these stories of like, this is serious. Yeah, see, like people know it's like a meme.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm literally doing slam poetry about children dying on the street. And you open up the comment section, nurse, she's out again. Somebody help her, she's crazy. And I'm like, oh, we're all free Britney, until this successful, talented girl is doing real stuff and being constantly told she's crazy, constantly being gaslighted, when I'm telling you I'm fine. My bills are paid, my house is beautiful, my staff is paid. Like, my life is fine. Why are you so worried about me? Like, why am I the crazy one when you're watching me live my dream? So I was just pissed off, and like somebody said the thing, like, all the comments, like if you go look at it today, nurse, she's out again, nurse, she's out again. And I was just like, and oh, somebody said, somebody help her, because that's like one of the memes. Somebody help her, somebody help her. So I said, help me. I'm the person who didn't go to Coachella to go volunteer in Watts, to go help the kids who need help. I'm the person who won't tour unless it's a food drive. I'm the person who's constantly raising money for the homeless. I'm the one who's doing all of these meet and greets only if you come and pack lunches for the people who are suffering from wildfires. Why do I need help?
I don't think people know about that.
They don't,
That's
because they don't
interesting, isn't
care,
it?
because
Yeah.
that's not interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody knows who I am.
I mean, I researched you today and I didn't find that, right? You know?
Exactly.
And I did quite a lot of research.
Exactly.
That's very interesting. I think
oh God, this is really, really, really bad. Not only did she get so unprofessionally defensive there, she spewed a bunch of shite that she said she does with no backing it up at all, that none of us would know about. And then when the interviewer goes, I researched you and I didn't know about that, she goes, well, yeah, people don't care about that because it's not interesting. Gabbie, someone is finally on your side and you're being rude to them.
what you said as well about like even just you saying, oh, the internet wasn't responding well to me, and like I think and you said earlier, people putting my name in things, it always did well. Like, it's quite scary, right? That you became that sort of person. Do you think there's any
Probably. Because, like, I'm cool. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because you had fame and, like, it would get clicks, right? I just thought it was quite interesting because I feel like we do see this quite a lot with, like, people will be absolutely adored, like, publicly adored, and so many licensed. I mean, we saw it with, like, Millie Bobby Brown at one point, everyone was bullying her online. And it's quite a scary part of the internet. How did you sort of come to terms with that? Especially because I'm assuming originally, like, it felt like you generally just had a very supportive fan base, right? Like when you were doing the Gabbie show and stuff. And how did it feel when it then turned sort of a bit darker, like the memes and things like that?
Like, when do I think that happened?
Well, I was just saying, like, how did you deal with that? Like, how did you sort of come to terms with
I mean,
it?
not well. It was definitely like a slow, like, it definitely chipped away at me for a long time. And it was, I mean, I always look at everything as like, what, like...
You know what's just, like, overtly coming across to me? We are, like, I don't know, like less than 10 minutes until this is over, right? Normally, when you have, like, a guest speaker, the last 10 minutes will be something normally quite motivational. That's why you're speaking to these students, right? We're in the, under 10-minute mark, and this has been nothing but a negative conversation. Like, what was the plus of this? Like, if I was a student, I'm like, okay, I just heard this rich girl complain for 30 minutes and say that no one can criticize her, but she's open to every piece of criticism. Like,
was the divine nature and divine purpose of the situation. And now when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, this really had to chip away at my like innate desire to be acknowledged and praised by other people. So I think that for me was probably the biggest part, is just like when you're seeking that validation when you're younger so much, it doesn't come. All of a sudden there's millions of people, there's brands like kind of telling you you're awesome all the time and like just feeding your ego and like providing anything that you want. I was surviving on that. So like that was the hardest part, was like the ego death of it, of like, oh wow, like this wasn't real love, this was fake love. What does that mean? Who am I as an adult without all this like approval and praise and attention and validation outside? Like, am I good enough with me, and what does that mean? Yeah.
And what's your relationship like kind of with the internet now? Like, how are you feeling about coming back to it?
I'm really excited about it because I just like took a lot of time to kind of ask myself those questions over the past year, like if I was going to or not. And I think it's coming from a lot more grounded space where, like, to be honest, like you can say and do anything and like, I don't think I'm going to be bothered. Like, what do you...
But you just said a couple minutes ago that you will not take any criticism from most people because you think they're fucking losers, right?
What are you gonna do, talk shit about me on the internet? You know what I mean? Like, I'm square, so yeah.
I was interested also in what you said about like the echo chambers thing now, and I wondered how you feel kind of the internet's changed over the period you've been like, you know, working in it. Whether you feel like it's got maybe more open in terms of like discussion and debate, or whether it's perhaps getting more closed. Because obviously that's a lot of what we do here, you know, is debating and talking about ideas people maybe don't want to talk about. Or
I think the pendulum is swinging for sure. I think that things that were once sort of considered the thing to like rebel against are now the things that are rebelling. I think there's a lot of, there's just a lot of pendulum swinging right now. I think that it's going to get a lot hotter. I think people are getting braver because, I think it's worldwide. I don't think it's like just so much American, but there's just like, there's so much stuff that's so like, I'm trying to think of how to word this. Just like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, what is this conversation? Like, I feel like we're debating over nothing and like...
Oh, with like certain issues online.
Just everything. It's just like, everybody just like shut up just like for a minute.
Saying this in front of a bunch of students who are obviously majoring in debating, being like, shut up, we're debating too much. Pick your audience.
A big trend of, I think, like,
So we all need to stop debating things, and we all need to stop having these conversations. You know why? Because her ego's not being fucking brushed.
Depends how seriously people are taking it, but very small things turning into
massive
internet debates. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is such a weird example, but did you see you're on TikTok, I'm guessing, like as a watcher sometimes. Did you see the thing where like a girl didn't get the cake she wanted for her birthday, her sister hadn't made the cake or something? Did you see this?
No, there's just so many videos.
There's like no, it's not that interesting. That was a very random thought, but it's these like small videos that can spark. I mean,
okay, in that instance, Gabby should have said, no, I have not seen it. What is it? Like, this is just, this has not been great.
Like one discussion that's like big at the moment is, should you put your kids online, right? Like things like that. I don't know. What's your take on that, for example?
Like I have nieces, I won't post their faces. I guess I don't actually know like the reason why, because it's kind of like posting a license plate where people are like, don't post that license plate, and it's like you can walk out on the street and see the license plate. Like it's not doing anything. Like it's not a private information.
Oh great, she's gonna end this incredibly productive talk with saying that she doesn't understand why people wouldn't want children to be on YouTube.
Again, like if you bring your kids out, people will see your kids, but I think people are just so like weird. So like if you put a picture of a kid, like they might just like grow a hyperfixation on the kid. Like, you know, people get obsessed like in stalkery with celebrities. They might get obsessy and like stalkery with like those kids. And we don't know like what that's gonna look like. Like what's my future look like? So what does that look like for my niece if I posted her when she was 10 and now she's 20, but like people still remember from, just, you don't know. So give them the chance to be public figures or not, I guess.
I think another interesting thing about the kind of like change over time is how like you as a creator or like as an individual do you feel you have to like reinvent yourself to stay sort of not relevant, but like to keep people interested, or like something Taylor Swift talks about, right? Like, and you do see people do it a lot online. Is that something you felt the pressure that you had to sort of, because for example, your hair like changing, that was always a massive thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was just like me vibing. Like I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to dye my hair my whole life, or at least I won't want to. So let me just like, it's already bleached. Like let me like do green now. You know what I mean? But no, I don't think me specifically, but I also was never the person trying to like follow a trend. People were just like, I didn't even notice that was something that people did until like I got to know.
The Storytime YouTuber says she was not trying to try a trend.
Like people more personally, like kind of watch their workflow where it's like, what's trending right now? Like that's never been me. So I'm personally always like becoming somebody new, like having different styles, dressing differently. So I think that naturally translates, but I'm not interested in like, oh, new album, gotta be a new person now. Usually it happens naturally, because like when I put out my rock album, like I was feeling kind of emo, you know, now I'm not, so like my song is like poppy again.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is interesting though, I think that like people would be so excited by someone else dyeing their hair, you know? Like it's kind of strange, right? Like,
no,
was
super
that not
weird.
A bit strange for you, and
super weird.
Is it a lot of pressure sort of thinking, oh, how am I gonna like look in this video, or what am I gonna wear?
No, not really. I think like growing up like so unaware of myself and just being like kind of weird, and then realizing I didn't see it but other people saw it, like I just like keep doing that. I don't really care. Like I can't care about a lot at this point, to be honest. Just whatever makes you comfy, I guess. Like I packed an outfit, but I bought this from the souvenir shop and I thought it was way cooler. So
all right. No, I remember I said I was gonna like or dislike the video. I'm not gonna do it on camera, but it was incredibly unproductive. I felt bad for the interviewer, because the interviewer, when I was in college, I had organized a couple of these talks where I had to bring people in and interview them. Most of them went great, but sometimes the people would be so uncooperative, and ultimately I would get in trouble by my heads for it not being great. So if a conversation is not productive or doesn't turn out well, or the interviewer isn't getting a good vibe from the person they're interviewing, it just makes it awkward for everyone. And I cannot imagine being in the crowd for this. I don't know what the point of it was, because there was no good in it. You know what I mean? Like, strive towards this, or like she told literally people that in the crowd debate, we all debate too much. We all talk too much. Ooh, that's not. All right, let me know your opinion. We'll talk about it down below, and goodbye. If you need me to repeat that, I said, let me know your opinion down below. Gabby, in case you're listening, since you need me to say it multiple times. All right, bye, everyone.